Just to start off, can you speak to the relationship between the defendants and the victims in this
Sure.
case?
Yes. Jamie Coleman, whose first appearance was today, is the brother of one of the murder victims, Marcus Coleman. And he is also first cousins with Eric Pickford, who was the gentleman who we had the first appearance on last Monday, who was given a $2 million bond. Mr. Coleman, Jamie Coleman, is being held with no bond. The other victim in this case, Dakota Moore, who is deceased, is not believed to be biologically related to any of the people that I've just mentioned.
And does the difference in bonds, 2 million versus no, have anything to do with their involvement in the?
It's a great question. Yes, we usually people are held without bond in all first-degree murder cases. I am very pleased, and I want to thank Sheriff Cutler and his team for notifying our office. This happened in the early morning of Easter, and we were notified and were on the scene throughout the night as the district attorney's office. And because we were able to review much of the evidence in preparation for that Monday hearing, I was confident in telling the judge that we were not proceeding capitally based on everything I knew as it related to Eric Pickford. And because we made that determination and met with a group of prosecutors, senior prosecutors, to make that call prior to that hearing, we are required by law to set a bond. And we did that. Because it's a little bit different, and I can't get into the facts of the case, but because we have not yet made that determination as it relates to Jamie Coleman, that is, we have not waived the death penalty review on that one, he is being held without bond, which is required in a case where there's at least the potential of proceeding capitally.
So it's not necessarily that you are proceeding capitally with
That's right.
Coleman's.
We have yet to make the call on him, and we want to review all the evidence and certainly sit down and speak with his attorney, Terry Richardson, and look at all the surrounding circumstances of the case. But based on our review of the evidence that we knew against Eric Pickford, I'm very confident in saying we're not proceeding capitally. And in fact, we're going to look at what appropriate charges should be filed and do all of that through the grand jury proceedings that would be taking place in a month from now. And so all we're doing at this stage is setting bonds. That's all we've done for first appearances. For Eric Pickford, it's $2 million, and for Jamie Coleman, there is no bond being set, which should give some indication of their level of involvement being the difference. But again, I cannot, because of Rule 3.6 and 3.8 of the ethics rules, get into any of the facts of this pending case, other than to say that I really appreciate the sheriff not only involving us at an early stage so that we could assess what this is for court purposes, but also I know they've been working throughout the last several days trying to get 2 different people off the streets, and we're able to do that with Eric Pickford almost immediately. But they've been working with the U.S. Marshals and others, and we're successful in making sure that both of these gentlemen are now in a courtroom instead of out of custody, and this is where it belongs, is in court.
Question, did Coleman turn himself in this morning?
Yes, ma'am, he
Okay,
did.
it was this morning. Can you give any narrative as to what happened that night, or is everything kind of?
We're not allowed to get into the facts of the case. I'm confident in telling you that I believe there will be very little confusion as to what happened after it is presented in court. We have a luxury of saying that in some cases, and I believe that you'll see what I'm talking about when it gets there. It's just not there yet. But it's been a very thorough investigation, and I know that they're going to continue to work very hard in the days, weeks, and even years that sometimes these things take to wind themselves through the criminal justice system. And again, I can't say enough in terms of the amount of work that went in at a time where most people are devoting themselves to being with their family and thinking about other things. This team had to work throughout the night, and getting critical information at the early stage is essential in cases like this. And so we speak with great confidence in saying that the right 2 people are in custody right now, and also that we think we know exactly what happened here.
Do you anticipate any additional charges against these 2 suspects or anyone else?
There's always the possibility of additional charges, and we're going to be looking at that. Again, any additional charges will come out not through officers making arrests at this point, but through a grand jury proceeding. And my team, in conjunction with Greg Cromartie, the lead investigator from the Pender Sheriff's Office, and certainly anyone else who Sheriff Cutler wants to put on this case, we'll be working together in the next several days to determine what, if any, additional charges are appropriate. But suffice it to say that our primary concern was to make sure this community is protected and safe, and that both of these defendants are in custody. They are today, so this is a very good day. And we are hopeful that we will be able to try this case with all the facts before us in a courtroom, and obviously that's the only appropriate place to try it, and that's why we can't talk about the facts in the media, but we will be trying it in the courtroom if necessary.
Is there anything else you'd like the community to know?
Go ahead, Alan.
I'd just like to reiterate what Mr. Davis said. We're very pleased that all suspects are in custody. I'm very proud of the way our office has conducted the investigation. And we're just turning over to the district attorney, Mr. David, and the judicial assistant, letting them do their job.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.